Good day everyone, I am Jonathan Batal, together with my groupmates Janwindil and Infame Sumalinog. In this video, we will be discussing about an echo server. So what is an echo server? An echo server is an application that allows a client and a server to connect, so a client can send a message to the server, and the server can receive the message and send or echo it back to the client. So what is a server? A server is a computer or computer program that provides a service to another computer or client. For example, the internet is based on web servers that respond to requests from clients via web browsers. To connect to a server, you need to know the port number that the server socket is listening on, which is an endpoint for communication between the client and the server. So what is a client? A client is responsible for sending a message to the server, and is also where the message is echoed back to. With the correct port number and IP address, and if everything goes to plan, the server accepts the connection and creates a new socket. Through the newly created socket, the client server can now communicate by writing to or reading from the socket. So we have a problem here. So to recap, an echo server echoes back whatever it receives from a client. For example, if a client sends the server the string hello there, the server will respond with hello there. So write an echo server. This server will wait for a client connection using the accept method. When a client connection is received, the server will loop performing the following steps. So these are the steps. Read data from the socket into a buffer. Write the contents of the buffer back to the client. The server will break out of the loop only when it has determined that the client has closed the connection. So we're gonna program it. I use Java connection for this program, and now I'm done coding it. So I'll just be discussing to you how this program works. As you noticed, I put some comments here so that it's easy for you to understand how this line of code is doing. First, I created a class named Echo Server, and then I established a server connection with the port number 6013, and the system will print started waiting for the connection. That connection is referred to the client connection. So if the connection is accepted and it is true, then the system will print server is connected to the client. And then I use buffered reader to get the input from the socket connection, and I use print writer to get the output from the socket connection. And I created a string line so that it stores the value from the socket connection. I use while loop to loop the line string that reads the input from the socket connection. If the input string from the socket connection is true, then the system will print from client plus the line string, and then it writes the input stream to the socket using the print writer path. And now we're gonna close the socket connection and resume for the listening. So we're done here in the echo server. So let's run it. So the server now is started and waiting for the connection. So let's create another class named Echo Client. So I make a connection to the server, and that connection has a localhost 127.0.0.1 with the same port number with the Echo Server 6013. And then I use print writer to get the output from the socket connection, and I use buffered reader to get the input from the socket connection, and the system will print client is connected to the server. So I use scanner to get the input from the user or the client. I use while loop to loop this line. So the system will now print client message. And that message will now store in the input. So if the client wants to close the connection, he will just type exit. Either the exit word is all capitals or combined with small letters or uncapitals. It will break the loop because I use equals ignore case. And then the print writer pout will now write the input to the socket connection. And then the string response will now read the user input from the client socket. And then the system will now print the server response of the echo server. And then I close the socket connection. So let's run this to see if this would work. So the client is connected to the server. So let's see what is happening to the echo server program. So server is connected to the client. So you'll just type on the echo client, for example, hello. So the server response is hello. So let's see if it works. So this is from the client message, hello. So let's try another hi there. And the server response is hi there, and on the echo server program, so hi there, so it echoes back. So let's go back to the echo client. So in the program it says if the input is exit, it will break the loop. So let's type exit, either big case or I would combine exit, so it will break the loop. So this is an echo server, and echo client is being connected with each other using a socket. A socket is a one endpoint of a two-way communication link between two programs running on a network. So a socket is bound to port number so that the TCP layer can identify application that data is destined to be sent to. So an endpoint is a combination of IP address and a port number. So you can check an active connection using CMD. So to check that, just type CMD and type netstat, small case netstat -a. So these are the active connection on my system. So that's all, everyone. Thank you for listening, and God bless.